Good day, good morning, everybody. Praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God's first comes first. If you guys like what you're seeing, don't forget you can like, share, subscribe, and you can also donate via PayPal. The link will be in the description. Just go check the description. Today, we're going to talk about Restore the Snyderverse, of course. We're going to talk about also Zack Snyder and the announcement that Twilight of the Gods is coming out. We're also going to talk about, of course, Free Palestine. We'll talk about how AIPAC is trying and the Israeli lobby is trying to control the elections. It seems that they've been doing it for many years, and how we can impact a change on that, as well as how we can restore the Snyderverse, as well as how we can, as a group of people in the world, because this is an attack on the world. For those of you who have not checked out Lord Cool J's video yet, it's an attack on the world. This is not just Gaza. Gaza is just a test run to see what the world will tolerate, how the world will respond to a police state, to genocide, to ethnic cleansing on the main screen. And Israel is basically the test to see how they can push this through and get a new world order. Anyway, let's just get into what we're going to talk about today. But before I do so, there's a couple things I want to do. So the first thing I need to let y'all guys know is about this book again. This book is called The Ankh, African Origin of Electromagnetism. This is not the first time people have erased the history of a civilization or erased a lot of information. This has been happening over time, many, many times over, many generations, many different eras. So this is not the first time, and that's why we don't really know the beginning of things as we should. And one of the things that was erased from history was the fact that Egypt was a place where electromagnetism and electricity and a lot of the systems we have today actually existed already. They were started there. So that's just some food for thought there. All right. Let's start off on a light note first. So here I said that Zack Snyder has launched the 300 verse. We had 300, then we had Rise of the Empire, 300 Rise of the Empire. And it looks like Zack Snyder, maybe, I'm not saying he is, because the rumor was that they're going to try and do a 300 TV series on Warner Brothers HBO Max, I'm assuming, their TV aspect of their entertainment, right? If that is the case, then Zack Snyder would have launched the 300 verse. Well, he already has, because there was a sequel. He also, of course, launched the DC Snyderverse and the DCEU. Of course, the DC Snyderverse, I believe, is, yes, the Snyderverse is all of Zack Snyder's movies. Would it be, Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League. But inside of the universe that Zack Snyder created, which had connectivity to these things, we also had the Suicide Squad, which was part of Zack Snyder's universe. And we also had Wonder Woman, which was part of Zack Snyder's universe. These stories happened in the sort of setting, the sort of the universe that Zack Snyder had created. Now, they departed from that in Justice League 2017 and Aquaman. They didn't take on what Zack Snyder's idea of what Atlantis was supposed to look like and the visual appearance and look of it. And then they kind of moved off into their own thing. Even Shazam wasn't really part of the Snyder. It refers to the Snyderverse, but it had a totally different look. But Wonder Woman had the look of the Snyderverse. Suicide Squad had the look of the Snyderverse. Man of Steel and BVS had it. So when I say the Snyderverse, I'm talking about the universe in which Zack Snyder created and what was operating in that universe. Since then, Jeff Johns has sort of departed from that, and even the connectivity tissue, he has started to degrade it in Wonder Woman, but really degraded it in Justice League and then in everything else. And he said, and Warner Bros. Still holds on to the fact that Justice League 2017 is the real Justice League, and what Zack Snyder has is an Elseworld. Well, if you're going to say that, then you have to be consistent with all the movies that led up to that Justice League, in the sense that Man of Steel, BVS, and Wonder Woman are also Elseworld. And the reason why I would say that is because they operate within that universe. What we got with Justice League was not operating within that universe. It didn't have that look or feel of or tone of that universe. So that's why I said the Snyderverse is really these first 4 movies plus Zack Snyder's Justice League. I believe it's the Snyderverse, and that is what fans want to see continue. So when I say DC Snyderverse, I'm talking specifically about those movies. I'm not just talking about Zack Snyder's movies that he directed. He also has done the Armyverse. We've got 2 movies from that so far. We were supposed to get an animated feature that's been suspended a bit, and probably off the cards for now. We got Army of the Dead. We got Army of Thieves, which was like a prequel to Army of the Dead. So looking forward to more on the Armyverse, and Zack Snyder wants to develop more of that. And also he launched last year and this year the Rebelverse, which is Rebel Moon. And again, you know, he's been very successful at launching these universes. Now, despite the detractors and the haters and even the critics who have bashed his movies, the Rebelverse movie particularly, the Rebelverse movies were fantastic. They were lit. I say they were lit movies. I can't wait to see his director cuts. I wish Netflix would just let him do his thing. Just let him put out the director cuts. You know, let him be what he is. We want to see what he has in store, and then we'll either accept it or reject it. But we don't really appreciate studios saying, well, we want this way, and we want more people to see. No, just let him do what he does, because when his insignia is on it, that's what draws people to his movies. When you dull that insignia, it has a dulling effect. I personally thought that Rebel Moon missed a couple things, like there was stuff that was missing from it, and I also saw it in the sequel. So just let it be what it is. You know, that was my critique. The critique was like some things just didn't feel. It felt like there was a big gap somewhere. You know, so I would like to see all of Rebel Moon and all of the Rebel Moon verse. I don't need 2, 3, 4 cuts. Okay, just like how Zack Snyder's Justice League, the cut that he did, you know, which he got to do even more in it, was fantastic. And that's what we want. We want excellence. We don't just want great things or good things. We want excellence. All right. So he's also done the Rebelverse, and he's now doing Twilight of the Gods, which is an animated Norse mythology. And it's rated R, so that's going to be good. And it's with Jay Oliver, so it's going to be good. We know it's already going to be good. I'm kind of like, when it comes to Zack Snyder, I know he's going to put out good stuff, so I'm not even worried about it. You know, I like, you know, like the Armyverse has a totally different feel and texture to say the DC Snyderverse. You know, the 300 verse has a different texture and feel to, again, the Snyderverse, the Armyverse, the Rebelverse has its own feel. So that's what I like about his different universes. The different universes actually have different feels. But it so happens that it seems as though the Armyverse and the Rebelverse, they actually are connected in some way, shape, and form. And some fans who have read the comics that Zack Snyder's put out. And by the way, let me just say, Zack Snyder is as comic book as they come. You know, I mean, you could just look at this. Look at this. I'm going to show you guys something. You know, look at this. Look at this. Above is the comic of 300. Below is the movie of 300. Look how comic book he is. It's like you could take his movies and make comic books out of them. The movies easy. You know what I'm saying? Twilight of the Gods is an animation, so that easily goes to comics. You know, you look. We had Man of Steel prequels. Why? Because they were comic books. You know, like you look at it, it's a comic book. It's a comic book. Like Zack is really comic booky. Like when it comes to comic books, that's what Zack is good at doing, and his movies feel like a comic book. Army of the Dead, again, comic booky, very comic booky, you know. So I mean, come on now. Army of Thieves, Rebel Moon, literally they did comic books on it, right? They have the comic books, the Rebel Moon comic books, and then on top of that, they got the movie, and the movie's grounded, it's realistic and everything. You know, it feels like a very real movie. It feels very real. You know what I'm saying? Yet. You know, you could still, because of the style, you could take that movie and put it into comic book form easy. It reminds me of like Knight Rider. When I used to read the 80s Knight Rider books my uncle had, you could take the Knight Rider TV show and make it a comic book. And I think like Zack has that ability to take things and make them comic books. So it's not a far stretch that the two intertwine. And even the way he tells his stories is like, if you're telling, you've heard a lot of people say this, It's like you're turning the pages of a comic book. It's like you're looking at a comic book. The angles, everything he does is so comic booky. And he's probably an excellent comic book writer himself, or illustrator. So it feels like a comic book. You look at these Rebel Moon comic books right now. You got the V Castro. She's done the novelization, so you have the novelization above, and then you have the comic books below, and you can't tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's comic booky. I love that about Zack Snyder's stuff as well. It's like he's the authentic comic book guy. You know what I mean? And so, I said in the tweet, you tell me which director has done more successful world building than him. I'll wait. There's no one better to run DC than him. Restore the Snyderverse. And I really mean that. I mean, I don't know anybody out here that's done so much comic book work in live action. And he always has accompanying his comic books and stuff, and a lot of merchandising because of that. So you have the comic books, then you got the toys, you got the dolls, you got all the shit, the whole 9 yards this guy always has with it, because it just comes with the culture. He's like a culture guy. He's like a pop culture kind of guy. And that's what he brings to the table. And, I'm sure Jimmy's being sold off the charts, because Jimmy is, the Jimmys or the JC one, whatever, they're being sold a lot, I'm sure, because that's an attractive item for people to get. Of course, I'm sure Nemesis is selling also. So, of the Rebel Moon characters, I believe Nemesis would be selling a lot and Jimmy would be selling a lot, because those two characters really are standouts in both movies. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see his director cuts. I can't wait for Twilight of the Gods. So Zack Snyder's busy doing a lot of things, and it looks like he's going to be busy working with Warner Brothers, because I do believe Warner Brothers doesn't own the IP anymore. So Zack, since he's been working with Warner Brothers, probably that's his way to get in and working with Warner Brothers. I don't know. He's negotiating it because he's going to be the producer of it and financing it. So it should be interesting if he ends up working with Warner Brothers. I believe he'll be working with Abdi and DeLuca. He won't be working with James Gunn or under James Gunn, because it's not a DC property. It's a comic book property, but it's not DC property. So that would be interesting to see a TV show, maybe an animated TV show as well, like Twilight of the Gods. That would be kind of dope. I would love to see that on HBO Max. Absolutely. Sign me up, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to do anything with HBO Max or with Warner Brothers, in spite of Zack Snyder being there, until I see the Snyderverse restored. I'm holding my line on that, Now, there's a lot of people saying that Zack Snyder would never get any more work in Hollywood, blah, 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 blah. Nah, the Netflix wants him to do the Rebelverse. They want him to continue doing what he's doing. They don't want him to go into the Armyverse. And he's like, man, I got more story to tell in the Army. But they're like, oh, man, you keep doing that Rebelverse thing, because we making money off of that shit. You know what I'm saying? We getting subscribers, people coming to Netflix. Like I was one that I dropped my subscription from Netflix. Let me see. I had a subscription with Netflix for something. I can't remember what it was. I think I just subscribed to Netflix because it was so cheap. And then I stopped my subscription because I couldn't maintain it or whatever. And now I'm on Netflix again. Excuse me for the yawning. I'm back on Netflix again because, besides the other entertainment values that are on Netflix that I'm interested in, I get to see these movies, and these movies to me are really dope. I didn't point out the other stuff here, but I just wanted to start off with that lighter note about Zack Snyder and his movies. And I've had debates and arguments with people over this stuff for a little bit. So I wanted to start off with that Zack Snyder, he's got Twilight of the Gods coming out there. And you guys should really, and by the way, for Twilight of the Gods, check this out. Twilight of the Gods, Zack Snyder put up on Vero. By the way, I didn't go on Vero to check this out yet. This is still on Twitter. But Hans Zimmer is actually doing the score for Twilight of the Gods. So that's going to be crazy. That's going to be lit. It's rated R. So, oh man, they ain't holding back nothing. This is going to be Conan the Barbarian, heavy metal kind of animation. And Jay Oliver's doing the storyboards and animation. So man, it's gonna be crazy. JL, but there gonna be some other directors or producers for it, and couple up. But it should be great. It's a series of stories, so it should be great. I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to that content, and I know Zack Snyder's at home with Netflix. I know Netflix is treating them good at present, so I'm very interested in seeing what else happens there. Uh, yeah, let me go to something else here. I'm gonna go into Palestine. Hey, this is what it looks like. Twilight of the Gods. This is a picture of Twilight of the Gods here from the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know too much about it. It's Norse mythology. I see this big, tremendous, and there was actually a little animated teaser, of it, and you can see all the Norse gods fighting, or the Norse battle people fighting. I don't know if they're gods or not. Uh, you see this female warrior. She's leaping through the air, coming at this big, powerful fighter with a massive sword. Her sword is so small, and he was going to kill this dude here, which you guys can't see, but that's all right. The guy lying on the ground there. There's blood everywhere. Oh, man, this is going to be great. The animation of this is not exactly like the animation of Blue-Eyed Samurai. It's a different kind of style. It's stylized differently, but it's interesting, and I would love to see how the animation flows and everything. Um, this is interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all pounds out and everything. I may have a snippet of it. Let me see if I can find something there. Ooh, this is some more visuals here, man. So this is a Norse god, and apparently he's capturing power like He-Man. I have the power. Yeah, he's capturing lightning or something there. This is, I don't know who she is. She's got marks on her face, but she's charging with what looks like a spear. Could be a sword. Yeah, it's her again, like defending this other guy, leaping through the air, man. And this is him again. This is probably the leader of the group. She's like his right hand man. She's like this is like Zod and Feora. She's like Feora, fierce and shit like that. And then you have the people in the background. They got these little markings on them. But it looks like this man, whoever he is the leader of them. So he's the leader. She's the his right hand man, or right hand woman in this case. Now, I was hearing some flack people were throwing at Rebel Moon because Korra was the lead, and like they hated that this woman was a lead role in Rebel Moon, even though Korra, she brought the band together, sort of, kind of, but she needed a lot of help from the guy who was part of the settlement where she was at. And not only her, but also if you look at it, we had Titus was also another leader. So Korra's probably the main character they focused on, but she wasn't necessarily the leader of the bunch. You know what I mean? She wasn't calling all the shots. She was just there to try and help out. And I thought it was great, but apparently some massive, we have some misogynists out here, and they was like hating on Korra, which was like, what? Because she fights a certain way, she had a different fighting style, which I really kind of liked. It was kind of elastic but brutal. It's kind of like a dance. She really doesn't fight like a dancer. But it was interesting, and I liked some of the moves. Some of the moves was just like new moves I never seen her. Like when she kind of jumped under and then over the balcony, that was kind of crazy. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And but honestly, I want to see the director's cut of Rebel Moon. I want to see the director's cuts of these things. And I saw some people coming through saying that this thing, Twilight of the Gods. Well, I don't know if they're people or bots, because we know, first of all, we're seeing a pattern here. We're seeing AIPAC putting out bots, for example, and putting out a lot of money in the elections. We're seeing Warner Brothers, Casey Bloys, and they're putting out bots pouring a lot of money, paying a lot of people to try and sabotage, for example, to restore the Snyderverse movement and try and sabotage Zack Snyder at any project he's doing. And I see the same strategy. And these people don't realize the whole point behind Warner Brothers and DC is to shine a light on heroes, is to bring a positive thing to the world. This is what James Gunn's supposed to be doing with his Superman movie. So why would you indulge yourself in the most depraved and wicked and evil things when you, as a creator, want to bring forth something beautiful? That's sick, in my opinion. It's warped. It's weird. So to see people trying to attack this movie, The Twilight of the Gods, they haven't seen anything of it, and what they've seen in it, is not something that you could tear down. Now, when James Gunn put out the Superman thing, I'm gonna tell you this again. I personally could see where he's coming from, but because I'm a creator myself, but when he got deservedly torn apart for that, okay, deservedly, there are several reasons why that happened. Okay, Zack Snyder never did anything to fans. James Gunn fired Henry Cavill, got rid of Ben Affleck, okay, from the Aquaman film. James Gunn changed up the end of The Flash. Okay, he changed up things in Aquaman, and James Wan ended up going to hospital for that. Okay, so whatever James Gunn gets, he deserves to get. Okay, and these Gunn fans try to attack everybody. Well, they're not Gunn fans. A lot of them are bots. Okay, because we know they're not Gunn fans because we don't see them show up in the cinema to support Gunn's movies in the numbers that are needed to make the movies profitable. Okay, so they're not Gunn fans. Most of them are bots. Okay, but having said that, it's interesting how they accuse Snyder fans, and Snyder fans are huge. When we say Snyder fans, it's a huge amount of people who are Snyder fans. Okay, hold on a second. You see something here? Okay, let me open up comments and for people to like. Okay, whenever you guys see this video is cool. All right, there's a huge amount of Snyder fans out here. Okay, it's not like Snyder fans. Snyder fans bring money to the table. If any Zack Snyder project goes to theaters, it's gonna make money, and it's definitely gonna make profit for whoever. Okay. So anyway, the point is that I've seen these people trolling this. It's not a whole bunch of them. It's not a significant amount of them like the last time, but they're trying to troll. And we're identifying and we are fighting back. We're not going to sit down and let you just beat us down on what we like. And no. Snyder fans ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to allow that to happen. Okay? Not on my watch. Okay? We're going to fight back. And the same thing with AIPAC and all these people trying to dirty Jamal Bowman, trying to dirty AOC and all the whole squad, trying to dirty Bernie Sanders and talk about anti-Semitic nonsense. We ain't going to take it. The world is not going to take that bullshit. And we're not going to just let the domestic affairs of the United States. If Israel can interfere with America's elections, as they accuse Russia of interfering with America's elections, but Israel's directly, for years, been interfering with Americans' elections through the AIPAC money, then we can interfere with America's elections if we're outside of the United States. Because if Israel could do it, everybody could do it. If Israel could do a genocide in Palestine, then any other nation, if they feel like it, they could do a genocide in another country. That's what the shit y'all doing. Y'all endorsing people saying, fuck the law, let's just do what we want to do. So if any other country does it and you want to label them terrorists, fuck you, because you've been the terrorist all along. And you're financing a genocide. You're financing a destruction of a people and their civilizations for thousands of years. We had churches that were there for thousands of years, libraries of there for hundreds of years, and you destroyed them. So fuck you and fuck your government. And as to the United States of America Congress that is bought by AIPAC and the Israeli laws, fuck y'all too. Fuck all of y'all. You know, excuse me, but I'm just going to say it as it is. I'm going to say it as it is. If I was a New Yorker right now, in New York, I'd be throwing up the finger. Fuck you. Fuck you. We're not voting for you, Biden. You'll never get my vote. Never. Fucking asshole. Never. Okay? Because you just showed you don't care about humanity. You care about at AIPAC money. You care about being reelected. And you're willing to sell your fucking soul and kill so many people and see a lot of blood just for the military industrial complex to make money off the backs of American taxpayers. You don't care about the homelessness in America, the joblessness in America. You don't care that the economy is going to shit. You don't care. You got police right now beating down people who are protesting the war, who are nonviolent. You have pro-Israeli Zionists beating up people in the United States of America, and the police is just standing by and allowing them to do it. So fuck you, Biden, and you're not going to be reelected again. And fuck Trump too, because he's not going to be reelected again. The American people need to stand up, organize yourselves, because you got some time before November. Organize yourselves and elect candidates who are not AIPAC funded or Israeli lobbied funded in your areas. Look at their resume. You know, this is the era where you don't trust nothing mainstream anymore. Let them pour out their Judas money, their 30 pieces of silver. Let them pour it out. But at the end of the day, make sure the people who represent you are elected and not these fucking people. I don't care what fucking propaganda they put out there. You stand up, inform other people on the ground, and grassroots resist. Resist them. Stand up and take back America. Thank God this happened, because you guys would not have known any better. You would have been under the illusion, like I was, that Israel was this good, kind country that was a victim of all these savage, wicked, evil Arabs all around them and Muslims. It's not true. It's a lie. It's a lie. And they're out to take over the world. They're not out for just, they're controlling right now certain parts of America because they've been able to pass anti-Semitic laws, which are not anti-Semitic laws. They're laws against Israel, condemning anything with Israel. They're trying to censor people online. I've been attacked several times on YouTube. My YouTube, this video took a long time to even come up on the screen because they tried to censor me. And they're trying now, because they know they're not in the right, they're trying now to kill as many Palestinians as they possibly can because they can't get rid of Hamas. We're going to talk about all of this later. But the same fucking attitude we're seeing with Israel and with the lobbyists and with their influence, both in Hollywood and in every single aspect of America, whether it's sporting life, Hollywood, whether it's in news media, entertainment media, they are trying to influence you to believe that they are the good guys when they're not. And not only that, they're trying to influence you to participate in this genocide by funding it and giving an okay. Yes, America, right? They're calling the Palestinians terrorists. They're calling them Hamas. Well, guess what? Hamas is doing exceptionally well right now. Hamas is doing great. They're going to win this war. Why? Why is Hamas going to win this war? Because they're going to outlast you. And just like the Viet Cong, they're going to chase your ass out of their place. They know they're going to take back Palestine now. They know that because Israel is destroying itself from within. It will no longer exist. Israel will no longer exist. They're going to try and create as much chaos and as much war as possible to bring about a one world government. And it's going to be fucked up again. Why? Because the people are not buying into the bullshit. The people know wars don't bring about great peace and great prosperity. They never do. Excuse me. The lie that we're fighting a war to survive. We're fighting a war the war has never been by somebody who has the greatest military in the world, supposedly. Even though they got America and Western Europe backing them a lot, and they have their troops in there, they have their special forces in there, a whole set of Europeans, Germany, France, England, and America are guilty. France has pulled out and started to speak language in the opposite. They've pulled out. Spain has pulled out. Who else has pulled out? Okay. I know I slapped my teeth, so I just need to take a bite. Hold on a second, guys. I got a call. It's not. All right, guys. I had to pause the video because I have a job to do. But let me just wrap it up real quick. All right. So Twilight of the Gods is good. We got some resistance, but it's all right. Because Zack Snyder, he always do real quality stuff. I'm gonna leave it right there. Let's get to what we need to do when it comes to Free Palestine. I already talked about. I already talked to you guys about Zack Snyder Justice League. I already talked to you guys about come on, goddammit, Restore the Snyderverse. So let's just get into now Palestine.
Which was in the air when Israel assassinated 3 British aid workers. Survivors from the strike on the first vehicle tried to take cover in the second one, which was hit next. Then the wounded from there tried to get to the third car. The vehicles were targeted 3 times in succession until everyone was killed. So you have the insane situation where the Israelis have targeted and blown up 3 British aid workers, yet the UK is supplying them with intelligence, including from that day, but we're not allowed to know what intelligence is being shared with the Israeli authorities. On top of that, we've sent 60 huge military transport vehicles.
Okay, so let me just get to it. So basically, the UK is very complicit in this genocidal war. They sent special forces in there. They exchange intelligence with Israel right now about that. They have drones in the air. The drones were used or were in the area at the time when UK British aid workers, 3 British aid workers were killed there. And it was targeted strikes. The British aid workers tried to retreat to another vehicle. It was 3 vehicles. They were bombed. They were shot down there, and then they went to the next vehicle. Got shot down. So everybody died in that complete thing, and they were UK people. So the UK has been complicit in aiding Israel in killing their own people, and they don't even care. It's because, again, these leaders are eating up that Israeli lobby money. They're being funded and they're being given a lot of money to be Judases, to betray their own people, their own countries. Right now, the American people are being betrayed by their governance because the government leaders are eating up that AIPAC money. They're getting funding for the next election. And that shit is it's like a coup inside of the United States of America, and it's been going on for years. All right, let me go on to
Israel.
So you guys can go check out my Twitter on that.
The IDF conducted a precise intelligence-based strike, targeted dozens of Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists hiding inside a UN school in Gaza. Some of these terrorists participated in the Hamas massacre of October 7th. The terrorists were operating from this UN school. They were planning and conducting attacks from inside classrooms of this UNRWA school. Our precise strike was based on concrete intelligence from multiple sources. The terrorists inside this school were planning more attacks against Israelis, some of them imminent. We stopped.
Okay, so let me stop this asshole. Okay, what they're trying to do is say that the guerrilla warfare by Hamas is happening and is being developed inside of UNRWA schools. That's a lie, first of all. Second of all, Israel hasn't been effective at getting rid of Hamas for two reasons. The first of three reasons is that, one, every time they talk about killing Hamas people and their plans and all that bullshit, Hamas lives underground. They live in tunnels. You dumbasses said that already. Why do they need to come up above ground to plan anything? What an asshole. They live in tunnels. Secondly, and very importantly, Israel has been non-effective at getting rid of Hamas in the north. Hamas are right now, and they show it, they televise their shit. They've been doing attacks successfully against tanks, immobilizing tanks, destroying equipment in the north, because it's a full-out war zone now. And these assholes destroyed all the infrastructure so that now Hamas has ample infrastructure to hide under and to do their ambushes with. Because the landscape is irregular. There used to be sites, there used to be actual places, but these fucking assholes destroyed them. So now you have no way of identifying where a Hamas agent could be. It's perfect for guerrilla warfare, and they're kicking Israel's ass as we speak on the ground. And the casualties keep on mounting. Israel's already had close to 1,000 soldiers that have died in this war already. Meanwhile, Israel has been killing and maiming and destroying civilians, which is the most dumbest, stupidest way to approach anything. Because the people who should be your allies should be the people who live in the area, not occupy, but live in the area. You want them to go up against Hamas. You want them to do the dirty work. You don't want, you call yourself fucking intelligent. You have intelligence and you have the best equipment. You still need the American soldiers carry out your special ops. And in all of your shit, which you've done, which the West has proven itself to be so fucking incompetent to start with, you're bombing the fuck out of people and you're not doing anything to Hamas. Hamas has gotten stronger from this. Conflict only helps Hamas. You think you destroyed their missiles? No, they have it underground. When they're ready, they'll fire most of the missiles into Israel again. Tel Aviv, everywhere. They're going to fuck you up. And Hezbollah's fucking you up in the north. You're talking about bombing. What the fuck is a bomb going to do? How much times have you bombed Lebanon? How many times have you bombed Syria? How many times have you bombed Palestine? It doesn't do shit. It didn't do shit in Vietnam, and it ain't gonna do shit now. All it's doing is killing civilians. Soldiers, And you give notice that you're going to bomb. You stupid assholes. You give notice. So you're encouraging fucking Hamas to fight. You're just giving them incentive. Oh, yeah, we got them now. They already drew you into this war. They provoked you into attacking. You have no fucking game plan of how to end the war. You have no fucking game plan as to how life is going to come back to normal. All you have is a game plan. Oh, we're going to wipe them out. We're going to wipe them out. Genocide. And we're going to take the territory and we're going to settle. You're dumb fucking assholes. You have no game plan. They're playing chess and you're playing checkers. You are responding to them. They got you by the balls and they don't even have the technology you have. You fucking asshole. And here is the American public being drawn into this shit, being sucked in with money and funds because AIPAC got a lot of these stupid ass politicians by the balls. Fucking corrupt politicians. Donald Trump said something, and I remember the white rural community having this sentiment that they needed to clean the swamp in Washington, D.C. It's a fucking swamp, man. It's a fucking swamp. And once and for all, this is the time where Americans need to stand up and clear it. And the only way that's going to happen is if you get rid of Donald Trump regime, you get rid of Joe Biden regime, and you establish a new regime. And you have to hope that these people will not compromise themselves and become corrupt themselves. And the only regime you guys should be looking at is the regime that rejects AIPAC money. I don't care if they're Republican. I don't care if they're Democrat. If you got to vote for people who reject AIPAC money and reject the Israelis' lobbyist money. Let the election go and let them spend all their money and not have any results for it. And the elections have already started, so you guys got to get on it and vote them out and reject Israel and their control of American politics. Now, I've seen a video, and I'm going to show you guys this before I get out of here because I don't have the time.
Ticking time bomb.
Deal with other things. Here is a Palestinian guy having to demolish his house in East Jerusalem because the Israeli soldiers and so on forced him to do so in East Jerusalem. They say he's squatting or whatever, which is a lie. They cut down the olive trees that the Palestinians grew. They blow up neighborhoods. Here is a whole neighborhood being blown up. And they've been doing this nonstop. Canada stood up. They said, we're approaching 9 months of genocide. Our state leaders have proven to us that they are on the side of violence and not on the side of settler colonialism, on the side of genocide. This is concerning Canadian leadership. This is a soldier that died. Okay, I gotta find it. I don't know if I have it. No, I think it was a YouTube video. I can't show YouTube videos because they put a copyright strike on me. This was, again, the poet, the beautiful man, Dr. Arera, the doctor who got killed. They're killing out all the competent people in Gaza, just mindless, reckless fucking killing. So if I seem a little bit angry, you're going to have to excuse me because even though I'm not related in any way to these Palestinian people, if anything, I'm closer to people who are Jewish. I am angered by this because I hate bullies and I hate wicked, evil people. And these are wicked, evil people. A airstrike on a school, another school. They're just like fucking up schools and stuff. These are the people that are resisting. You got Jamal Bowman, Corey Bush, Primala Jayapal, Summer Lee. We got Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, Ilan Omar, Mark Pocan, Ayanna Pressley, Delia Ramirez, Bernie Sanders, Rashida Tlaib, Nadia Venezuela, and we got some Republicans also who are standing up. And I actually subscribed to one or two. So you guys need to reject AIPAC. You guys not only need to reject AIPAC, you need to reject any Israeli lobbyist group or any financier who is pro-Israeli and wants people to support Israel in this genocide. You guys have to stand up and be counted, and don't let no motherfucker out here say that your voice doesn't matter. You do matter. We know. I've been part of a movement that made change. 2 movements, and now I'm going to be in the 3rd. So guys, stand up and let them know that the American people join with the rest of the world in condemning this action, and that the people who are amassing their crimes against humanity need to be brought to justice. We're going to hunt them down, and we're going to bring them to justice like Batman does. We are Batman today. I'm just saying. There's a lot more I want to say, but there was a guy in intelligence. He resigned from his job in intelligence because he realized they implementing strategies like famine so that people would die out. And we've seen them putting famine on the Palestinians, and they have a siege on them. And so all of this is so fucking incompetent, ladies and gentlemen. It's just vindictive, spiteful, and incompetent. And I'm going to explain to you why. Special forces was necessary, and intelligence, that was all that was fucking necessary to take down Hamas. The campaign should have been a propaganda campaign earmarked to take down Hamas. And what should have happened was there should have been talks with the people of Palestine, the PLA or whoever, and the Israeli leadership, while putting pressure on the PLA to nab down on Hamas, and the people to nab down on Hamas. But the problem with it is that they already were oppressive government on the people of Palestine. And so the people of Palestine would never be on their side. So that's why. But that's what they should have done. And they should have used their intel as they're using their intel right now, not to attack innocent people who haven't done you any wrong, but to attack Hamas and strategically cut the funding to Hamas. They didn't do that. Now, with respect to Hamas, I think Hamas is more righteous than these people because they're oppressors. And you can create lies on whatever, the truth's going to come out in the end. That's why I don't really have a problem if somebody say you pro Hamas. I don't have a problem with that. And a lot of people will say, but they're a terrorist organization, blah, 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 blah. Listen. At the end of the day, they're fighting a resistance. They're a resistance. And resistance is not clean. I wouldn't do the things they're doing. But then they have a militant arm of it that they're trying to fight for their freedom. So I can't be mad at them. Right? They're trying to take down settler colonialism and Zionism. So, sometimes that's how it goes. I remember when Nelson Mandela was part of a resistance, that's sometimes how it goes. Sometimes people die. Okay? But you're fighting for a bigger cause. In this case, that's what's happening with Hamas. That's what they're doing. They're the active, not the PLA. The PLA is not doing anything. Hamas is doing something. PLA is diplomatically doing things with the United Nations. But Hamas is like doing the dirty work in terms of military operations. And they also had political structure, and people in Gaza was actually living, in spite of all their oppression, they were living a pretty good lifestyle. They were trying to get universities and stuff put up because of the Hamas money that the Hamas got. And Hamas was governing them relatively okay. I mean, I'm not great, but I mean, they were living, they were surviving, they were doing things. So kids were on TikTok and all of that stuff. And now it's like hell on earth there. So what we have to do is we have to do our part. We have to cut the beast, cut off its head. And to do that, you have to attack AIPAC and the Israeli lobbyists in America. The only way America is going to change its stance on what's going on in the Middle East is to change the leadership. You guys do whatever it takes to make sure that Joe Biden and Donald Trump do not come back into power. That's what your goal is. If 65 to 70% of Americans believe that there should be a ceasefire, then we should see that in the election. In the election day, 70%, it should be a resounding landslide rejection of these candidates, whatever they are in the Biden ticket, and a rejection of the candidates on the Donald Trump ticket who have been using Israeli lobby money and AIPAC money. Y'all need to make a statement. And that will represent America, because I know majority of Americans do not support what is happening right now. But the elected officials, they're bought. Just like in the UK, The majority of UK people do not support this war, but the elected officials have been bought. Okay? Got you guys. I gotta go. God bless you all. I'm out of here. Christ I am disciple. Bless you all.